Okpebholo Council of Village Heads and Chiefs in Etsako East Local Government Area of Edo State have called on Governor Monday Okpebholo to nullify appointment of Engineer Lukman Akemokue as the Okuokpellagbe of Okpella Kingdom. ATN reports that the community met the call during a visit to the governor at the government house on Wednesday in Benin City. The delegation, led by Anamero Dekeri, member representing Etsako Federal Constituency in National Assembly, said the appointment of Lukman Akemokue as the Okuokpellagbe of Okpella Kingdom by the immediate past governor Godwin Obaseki did not comply with the extant laws. The spokesman of the community, High Chief Hansen Aigmofue, who read a speech prepared by the Okpebholo Council of Village Heads and Chiefs, said the previous administration had, through the alleged imposition of Lukman Akemokue as the Okuokpellagbe of Okpella, brought disunity to the community. Hansen said, Godwin Obaseki saw the vacant Okuokpellagbe stool as an opportunity to compensate a political ally for the dirty jobs he did in his favor before and during the September 21 governorship election in Edo State. We therefore appeal to the governor to immediately nullify the appointment of Lukman Akemokue as the Okuokpellagbe of Okpella for non-compliance with the processes as set out in the extant laws, he said. Responding, Okpebholo assured the people of Okpella that his administration will ensure that peace returns to their community to enable them go about their normal activities. Okpebholo, who said he felt bad when he was informed about the killings in the area, noted that the killings was not acceptable to his administration and would therefore find a way to address it. He opines that kingship is very important to communities, and as no one can install or impose a king on the people, adding that kingship should be a collective decision of kingmakers. Reports have it that the appointment of Lukman Akemokue as the Okuokpellagbe of Okpella by Obaseki polarized the community in two camps, with some loyal to the new traditional rulers and others against him. Clashes between the two groups resulted in several killings in the community. Chief Loveday, you are a titled man. Let me ask you about the politicization of traditional stools in Nigeria and the effect it has on communities, using Edo State as an example or a case study in this instance.
It is very unfortunate that our traditional institutions have been polarized, and the kind of politics we see has made the people, or has removed the powers of electing the kings from the people. And looking at the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, it gives the governors the powers to recognize and de-recognize any traditional ruler, any government-recognized traditional ruler in each of the states. So that is where the hands of the people are now tied, that anybody can pass through the back door and be installed a king over the people. You see, I am very sure that traditional institutions is a very serious business in Edo State, where we have the Oba of Benin. And if I would be very surprised if the king was installed without being recognized by the Oba of Benin, who is, who is the traditional head of traditional or kingship in Edo State. So, if my assertion is very correct, I will want the incumbent governor not to be hasty in recognizing anybody who is a king in Edo State, except proper investigation is made and somebody was illegally instituted as a king in Edo State without the people. Because I'm very sure that the man who is a king today, who was recognized by the former governor, will also have his own group or his own fashion in that particular community, except otherwise where the institutions that are king makers have come to deny that they are not properly aware of the man's enthronement, then the governor can pass through the normal process and then dethrone. Otherwise, I will also advise the people that are now protesting to go to court and challenge the king's enthronement, and the court will also make a pronouncement. You know, because asking the governor now to come and dive into traditional politics.
Our governor's not diving into traditional
politics. No, they are, but it is an avoidable crisis, avoidable problem that you do not. The governor should by now have a lot of issues on his hand to marry. This one should be one of the least thing that he should give attention to. One of the least. So the governor should now begin to look at.
There are killings going on in the community. So as a result.
If there are killings going on in the community as a result or throughout Obaseki's administration, and up to this point, there is still killing, then the governor should investigate. That's what I'm still saying. Now, he's from Edo State, and if there were killing before he became governor, he should be aware. Now, and if people are doing this because perhaps this incumbent king may have sympathized with the former governor, or has because majority of the kings now are politicians.
They said the governor installed him as a king, as a kind of settlement. Now, when you were speaking earlier, you talked about something very important. You said that you doubt that Obaseki would go ahead to, you know, install someone as a king without the approval of the Oba of Benin.
Thank you. Because that king should be a member of Oba's palace. Having been recognized by the state governor. So he's a government recognized king by virtue of this deliberation.
Okay.
So if Oba is aware and has given his consent to it, then proper investigation should be done.
Now this is where the thing is. Obaseki and Oba had a long they had a standoff. In fact, at some point, there were issues around the artifacts from Benin Kingdom that was returned to Benin City, and those artifacts were taken from the Oba's palace. And now, when it was finally returned, the Obaseki was now saying that it was not going to return back to the Oba's palace, but it's now going to be in the custody of the government, and that raised a lot of issues. Now, part of the issues Obaseki had as a governor was his continuous standoff with the Oba of Benin. In fact, at some point, there was even a litigation that happened that, you know, the court now summoned the Oba. And Edo women, well, I would like to say Benin women at that point, protested, went around the government house, I think 7 times half naked, and made some incantations, made some pronouncements. I mean, they are traditional women. And there were threats and all of that. And that matter, you know, the Obaseki at some point had to step it down, you know, to a large extent. And people believe strongly that part of the things that could have affected Obaseki's anointed not being successful in the 2024 elections could have been part of his problem with the traditionals too. So when you're saying that it is possible that Oba of Benin may have had the blessing, Obaseki may have had the blessing of the Oba of Benin to install this man, I wouldn't say for sure, because I know for sure that Obaseki and Oba of Benin had issues. In fact, it was as Okpebholo returned, Okpebholo won the governorship, that he now reinstalled the statutory rights of Oba of Benin that was taken away by Obaseki.
You see, in Benin, anybody, whether you are a governor or not a governor, that has ever disrespected the palace always pay the price. Even Oshomole, former Governor Oshomole, who had an issue with the palace in one way or the other, paid some price. And that was why his candidate in the person of Eze could not make it, despite the fact that Oshomole came to the traditional council, knelt down to apologize to them. Yet, that couldn't make Eze become governor at a point. Now, Obaseki took the same step and disrespected Oba's palace, the price is what you saw that happened in Edo State, where his candidate did not win. So if what you have said here now is very correct, if the Oba of Benin did not give his blessings to the king that was installed at the time, that makes the case very easy. That's why I said there should be investigation. So that, because for you to be a king in Edo State, government recognized king, you are, once you are sent to power, you are going to be under the Oba of Benin, who is the highest in ranking in Benin State. But the only thing is that the constitution has given the governor of the state the power to recognize or de-recognize. Now, if the Oba of Benin have known that Obaseki has such powers to exercise and decided to keep quiet at a time, there is a new governor now. This is the time now to make a statement to the government and to the people to say that this man that was made a king, I'm not mentioning his name because I don't want to make mistakes, that this man that was made a king over his people didn't come through the right source. He was manipulated against the people's will and wish. Then the governor should come in and recognize such a person, or they should pass through the court or wherever to disqualify him. But you don't just come and say it was a political compensation. Yes, who is in office that is not compensated in one way or the other? Majority of the persons are compensated because of the roles they play. No matter how your people like you, sometimes if the government do not like you, the government will refuse to recognize you and you will not be. So no matter how your people hate you and the government of the day wants to recognize you, just like we are discussing now, they will recognize you. But at the end of the day, you will have the price to pay if you have done that which is not from the right way. That's why I say the governor should not consider this as a priority, but should follow that which is tradition, the law of the people, and the constitution demand, so that at the end of the day, justice will seem to have been done.
All right.